King Charles may have just ended Sadiq Khan's career, and it all started with 6 words from Donald Trump at the UN. Standing before 193 nations, Trump looked straight into the cameras and said, "London has a terrible, terrible mayor." The hall fell silent. Diplomats froze. Everyone in the room knew he had just thrown a political grenade across the Atlantic. But no one, not even Trump's critics, expected what came next. Days later, Buckingham Palace broke its golden rule. For the first time in decades, the monarchy waded into a political storm. In a carefully worded public statement, King Charles spoke about the urgent need to address safety concerns in London. He never mentioned Khan by name. He didn't have to. The timing said it all. The message was unmistakable. Parliament erupted. Labour MPs sat in stunned silence, while Conservatives couldn't hide their grins. The press exploded with headlines. Royal shockwave, Charles echoes Trump. Monarch sides with Trump, Khan cornered. Even the BBC, usually cautious with royal coverage, ran the line. King Charles raises concerns over London's leadership. That word, leadership, cut deepest, because it's exactly what Londoners feel has been missing. The numbers back it up. Knife crime is up 15%. Violent robberies have risen 22%. Tourism is falling. Londoners are losing patience. Trump pointed to the chaos. And now the king appeared to agree. Overnight, social media erupted. Hashtags like Charles backs Trump and Khan humiliated trended globally. And this time, it wasn't bots or political operatives. These were ordinary people posting things like, "When even the king says something's wrong, maybe it's time we listen." Inside City Hall, panic set in. Sadiq Khan's team scrambled to contain the damage, but there was no way to spin it. The image of the king quietly echoing Trump's criticism was already burned into the public's mind. Behind closed doors, Labour descended into chaos. Keir Starmer, already under immense pressure from internal divisions, wanted no part of the drama. In Parliament, he dodged questions 3 times in a single session. When your own leader won't defend you, the writing's on the wall. Khan tried to fight back, and made it worse. Instead of addressing London's crime figures, he lashed out. He accused Trump of fear-mongering and hinted that Charles had been misinformed. Then he blamed the right-wing media, but to the public, it looked like deflection. When the king speaks calmly about safety and the mayor responds with excuses, there's no contest. Television networks played the 2 clips side by side. One, a defensive, red-faced mayor. The other, a measured monarch. Viewers didn't need commentary to decide who looked credible. The next morning, the data confirmed the damage. A YouGov poll showed 44% of Londoners agreed with King Charles's statement. Even worse for Khan, 29% of his own previous voters said they sided more with the king, and even with Trump, than with him. When nearly a third of your base turns on you, you're done. 3 Labour MPs publicly broke ranks, warning Khan to stop fighting Trump and start fixing crime. Translation: even his allies were giving up on him. Then came the knockout blow. On Friday, the Royal Foundation published a report on youth safety in Britain's major cities. Its conclusion? Rising concern among families about violent crime, gang activity, and, most damning of all, a lack of trust in city leadership. No names, no finger-pointing, just the truth written in black and white. And everyone knew exactly who it was aimed at. For ordinary Londoners, that sealed it. One viral tweet from a mother in Hackney said it best. "When both Trump and King Charles say London isn't safe, maybe we should stop laughing it off and start demanding answers." It got more than 250,000 likes, not from trolls or activists, but from everyday people who have simply had enough. That frustration sweeping through London wasn't coming from political operatives or party activists. It was coming from the very people Sadiq Khan once depended on to survive. For years, his playbook worked. Mock Trump, dismiss critics, attack the messenger. But now, Those tactics looked painfully small against the weight of the king's calm, serious tone. Instead of looking strong, Khan looked petty. Instead of defending his record, he looked exposed. And instead of silencing Trump, he gave him something priceless: legitimacy. By the weekend, the political tremors had turned into a collapse. Khan's approval rating plummeted 7 points in just 4 days. Confidence in London's safety hit its lowest level on record. These weren't bad headlines. They were career-ending numbers. On Sunday morning, Khan appeared on the BBC's flagship politics show, desperate to contain the damage. The host asked one simple question. Putting Trump and King Charles aside, are you satisfied with London's crime trends? What followed was 4 agonizing minutes of evasion. Khan mentioned Trump 11 times, Charles 3, but never once gave a straight answer about crime. The clip went viral. Millions watched a mayor visibly drowning in his own excuses. Even his allies began to lose patience. Owen Jones, one of Labour's loudest defenders, wrote bluntly, "The mayor needs to stop talking about Trump and start talking about London. When your friends tell you to stop spinning and start governing, you know the walls are closing in." Conservatives saw blood in the water. For months, they'd been cautious about siding with Trump, but now they didn't need to. They had something stronger: the King's words. Tory MPs flooded the airwaves with a devastating new attack line. If Labour can't handle tough questions from Washington or Buckingham Palace, how can they handle tough decisions in Westminster? Inside Labour headquarters, panic turned to paralysis. Senior advisors begged Keir Starmer to distance himself from Khan. Starmer stayed silent, and that silence was deafening. In politics, once you're branded a liability, the knives come out fast. But this time, the rebellion wasn't limited to Parliament. It was coming from the streets. The hashtag Khan Out wasn't just trending. It was uniting people who had never agreed on anything before. Young professionals in Shoreditch, single mothers in Hackney, retirees in Croydon. Even minority voters, who had stood by Khan for years, were now turning on him. One post from a London nurse captured the mood. "I voted for Khan twice. But if the king can see the problem, if Trump can see the problem, and if my own neighbours can see it, why can't he?" That message went viral, shared hundreds of thousands of times. By Monday morning, the focus had completely shifted. The story was no longer about Trump's insult or Charles's breach of protocol. It was about Khan himself. The front pages all carried the same verdict. The Telegraph, Khan's leadership in question. The Daily Mail, London deserves better. Even The Guardian conceded, Mayor faces crisis of confidence. 3 papers, 3 political leanings, 1 brutal consensus. Khan was finished. Then came the blow that sealed it. The London Assembly released its quarterly safety report. And the findings were damning. 67% of Londoners said they now avoid certain areas after dark. Tourism in central London had dropped 8% year on year. Small businesses in high crime zones reported empty shops and frightened customers. These weren't opinions. They were hard numbers, and they painted a city losing faith in its leadership. On Tuesday, King Charles delivered another subtle but perfectly timed message while visiting a youth centre in East London. Surrounded by teenagers and community leaders, he said, "Every citizen deserves to feel safe where they live." Leadership isn't about ignoring concerns, but about listening and acting. He never mentioned Khan. He didn't need to. The applause said it all. Parents worried about sending their kids to school. Shopkeepers describing daylight robberies. Tourists warning friends to stay away. These weren't political talking points, they were lived experiences, and they drowned out every excuse Khan tried to make. Because when a US president calls you out on the world stage, and your own king echoes the criticism, you're not just losing a political argument, you're losing legitimacy. And now, as the king's quiet authority eclipses the mayor's defiance, one truth is clear: Sadiq Khan's reign over London is coming to an end.